In today's video, we are going to change brake pads and brake rotor. This is a rotor here. I've done a video on changing brake rotors. Pads are what set in the brake caliper and sees the rotor like that to stop. I also have a video on changing brake pads. This one, I've been wanting to do one like this. We're going to do both in the same video, which is very common. Oftentimes when pads are severely worn, the rotor might be worn too. So this is what you may hear if you have a broken rotor on your vehicle. Here we can see where our rotor has split. Obviously I have the wheel off the car now, so a much better view. Up here where it's supposed to be one piece with just some space in between, the rotor actually busted off, and up above we can see where the busted part is settling in. Anytime you're going to change your brake pads or your rotors, as we are in this case, you want to go to your brake master cylinder and take the cover off, because you're going to be forcing those brake pads back into the caliper and forcing the brake fluid up. Looks like we're not too bad there, but if that was really full, I would take a turkey baster or something and suck some of that out of there. So right now I've placed a C-clamp, one side of it in against our brake pad here, and the other side of the C-clamp over there on the back of our brake caliper. Had to be a little strategic about positioning here. You don't want it to end up on a bleeder valve or against your caliper slider pin. You want a piece of steel. So I've got it resting in there, and now I'm going to start turning it righty-tighty, and hopefully you can see that the brake pads are moving away from our caliper here. I'm going to push that in good and far to leave lots of room for our new brake pads to go in there. I'm turning that C-clamp right now. Hopefully you can see the space increasing between here. So I put about as much pressure as I can on with the C-clamp. You see a big space here between our brake pads and the caliper. Now I'm going to release our C-clamp here. Take the pressure off. See our brake pads there, now they're released. Get that caliper off now. Looking at it from the top, our caliper mounting bolt is right here. I have my socket on it. On this vehicle it's a 15mm bolt. Now from outside the vehicle here, just allow me to get my tripod here. There's our wrench. This vantage point, because we're behind it, it's going to be going that way, which kind of looks opposite, because usually going to the right, righty is always tighty, but because we're looking at this bolt from behind, it's going to look the other way. Let's see if I can loosen this here. May have to turn the wheels to get a better leverage point on this. Yeah, we're going to do this again. I'm going to turn the wheels so that the caliper's facing this way. So there you go. That's my boot up there. Make sure you have your vehicle blocked, and there we go. So, just wanted to get my point through. Those mounting bolts can be pretty tight. I'm going to try the bottom caliper mounting bolt here now. I always prefer them because I usually use the boot method. We'll see what happens. anything that saves me a little extra back strain works. You can usually get at the body mounting bolt and use the boot method. And this is our vantage point from underneath the vehicle, on the inside of the vehicle, of where that mounting bolt is. So right now I have the bottom caliper mounting bolt out. It can move like this. And before I take the top one totally out, it's almost out, I'll take a tie wrap or something like this, put it in here, because we don't want to just let that brake caliper hang on the brake hose here. That's going to put too much unnecessary stress on it. So basically what you don't want to do is lay that caliper aside, because usually when you do that, at some point you're going to knock it off of there, and it's going to put unnecessary stress on your brake flex hose here. But actually I do want to show how you get your pads out of here. You're going to push them over. All that crap out of there. Let's move my camera a bit here. So here's our two pads. Look at how badly worn the inside one is. There's nothing left along there on that. This outer one, they don't tend to wear as much, the outside pad. The inner ones always seem to wear the most. You just push that out of there. If they won't push out, just get a screwdriver, force them out. Anyway, now that I got those out of there, I'm going to take that tie wrap and tie wrap this up safely. Now we're going to pull that old caliper off, or sorry, that old rotor. And here is the busted piece we were talking about. I noticed that whoever put these brake calipers on the last time is of the same mindset as me. They put anti-seize compound around it. I found the old stuff on here, which is probably a good part of the reason that brake rotor came off so easy. I'm a big proponent of this stuff. We're going to slide our new rotor on. Just match up the lug nut holes there, like so. Cut our caliper out of here. Then we're going to install our pads in the caliper. If you got brake grease, put a little brake grease around your pads. Do not use WD-40 or any kind of solvent like that around to clean your brakes. Anything like that, there's so much heat around the brakes, you gotta have specifically brake grease. Anyway, cleaned all this up. I always tell my sons, don't throw away your old toothbrushes. Good for cleaning up and around here. So I did all that. And take that pad, insert it. You can see where the groove on the pad matches up with the groove in the caliper. So, take your inside pad, place it in the caliper like that. Push it in. You see those clips are going into the round part of the, there we go. Now, we gotta line this up. So push down on the pad. Incidentally, some of these have a spring clip. push against. If it's there, clean it up, leave it in. And if there's a new spring clip in the kit, your new pads, obviously put that in. I need more room for those new pads than I thought. So I had my C-clamp here on the new pad, on the back of the caliper, being careful not to hit a bleeder screw or anything like that. Force that pad all the way in. That's as far as it'll go. I'm going to release that clamp like so. I got lots of room for the new brake pad here. Slide that down into place like that. I took the rotor off for a minute just to make it easier to work. I'll put that back in place and we'll slip that over the caliper. If you have this style of caliper with a spring here and you're having a hard time getting your brake pad in, particularly the outside one there, like this, notice how the inside of the pad isn't touching the caliper, and I can push that and it won't go in. What you do, just take a screwdriver up here along this edge. This spring is forcing these two pieces together. Just pry that apart a little bit and see if I can do this while putting some force on your brake pad. You'll notice that slipped into place there. Okay, so with our pads into the brake caliper, as we said, fully force the piston back there, then we should be able to take this, put it over our rotor. I'll move this camera like that, slip that over the rotor, and have your caliper mounting bolt ready to put in the top. See if I can get this in here. So I'm going to maneuver this down over the rotor. I'm hoping this is coming out in the camera. I'll move that a little bit there. Caliper mounting bolt is here. Just going to slide that in there. Force this caliper down. Line up that hole. Might have to give it a little tap with the hammer there. There's the top caliper mounting bolt. You get that one situated first. See our calipers there. Swing it on that. And with it pivoting on that, now it's easy to line up the bottom one. We'll get that bottom mounting bolt in. Once you get your mounting bolts into place, just go top to bottom. Tighten one up. And keep going. Like that. I'll tighten the bottom one up a bit until they both get snug. And then tighten them up evenly. Now I'm over on the driver's side here. You may actually find it easier to move your wheel off towards the right when you're working on the driver's side. Just move them to whichever way will give you a better purchase point on your caliper mounting bolts. So you can see here, I got my wrench up here. I'm going to find out. I haven't loosened these off yet. And unfortunately, doing the driver's side, because we're pulling the wrench in the opposite direction, we can't use the patented boot method there. So I'm just going to try to see how hard that one's going to be to come off here. Not too bad. See, our caliper's all loosened up right now. And don't forget to go back and have a look at your master cylinder brake fluid level when you go to do the second wheel. Level's coming up there, but still should be okay to force those pads back in without overflowing. And again, take an old turkey baster or something and just suck some of it out there. Okay, once you get your wheel back on, we're going to get the car and pump the brakes and get our pressure back, our brake pressure. Okay, this part is absolutely critical. It doesn't matter how confident you are that the job went well and everything is all together properly. We have to put pressure on the brake system and reseat those brake pads against that new rotor we put on, because we drove them back into the cylinder as far as they could go. So right now, if I hit my brake pedal, hopefully you can see that, that's getting more pressure behind it every time I hit it, simply because I'm re-entering pressure into the brake system. So you want to pump those brakes until you have good pressure. Then you could have actually done this from the very beginning. We're going to start the vehicle, and with the additional pressure of the power brake system, because now we're really going to put a lot of force on the brake system, because now our power brakes are engaged. We just start pumping it again. And once you get that pressure back at the system, you're going to take it for a little test run. If you don't feel that the pressure has returned properly, don't go driving the vehicle. But once you have the pressure back, and I have the pressure back now, I can tell on my foot there, I'll take this for a slow test drive just to verify everything is good.